So this story happened in grade 12. I was in a horticulture class at the time. It was a dual credit course for the college, Fanshawe. And with the dual credits, what happens is you go out one day a week for the whole day. So that was on Thursdays, and so every Thursday I didn't have to go to actual classes. Instead, I would go to a dual credit course, and it was basically a Fanshawe course. But luckily, it was actually at my high school since we had a small greenhouse. And so we did a whole bunch of hydroponics and shit. I set up most of that and whatnot, and I I did quite a bit in that class since I already knew a lot about growing weed, and that's pretty well the only reason anybody took that class was to learn how to grow weed. And so I ended up taking one of the greenhouse knives, which is basically a straight razor, is about yay long, maybe like 6-8 inches, and it was basically a straight razor. It was a little bit duller than a straight razor would be, but it was designed for like pruning plants. Um so anyways, I took that and I actually used it at my job at the time. I was working in a tire shop and I used it for cutting off the valve stems. And so anyways, a couple days after I took that, I actually got called into the principal's office because some fucking dickhead decided to tell on me because apparently I was smoking weed at school, which I wasn't. I smoked weed before school and in the middle of school, but never at school. That was the thing. I was pretty well always high after grade 11 in school, but I never fucking smoked at school. So that's what got me off of it. So I got in there. This was grade 12, right? And the principal said that somebody apparently told her that I was smoking weed on school grounds. And so I straight up told her, I said, look, I smoke weed before I come to school. I go back to my buddy's place at lunchtime and I smoke more weed and I come back to school. But I never, ever smoke weed on school grounds. And I did that for a reason. I took 2 law classes in high school, so I knew they couldn't get me in trouble for smoking weed off school grounds. They could only get me in trouble for smoking on school grounds. So, as long as I smoked off school grounds and then came to school high, I couldn't get in any shit. And I knew that. And so that's what I did pretty well every day of grade 11, just about after I came back from my accident. And every day of grade 12, pretty well I was there high. Well, I mean, of course, after the first 20 days of, or 25 days of school that I skipped. But, yeah, so anyways, she had me in there in the office, and she asked to search my bag. And so, of course, I said no. But, the law says that if they have multiple sources, or at least one reputable source, then they could legally search your bag. And so I asked for the names of the sources. And the principal unfortunately gave me about half a dozen different names that for some reason said I was smoking weed at school, which hasn't been true since grade 10, I'd say, which is actually when I smoked weed in the school bathroom, but that's another story. And so anyways, the principal did give me enough reputable sources that technically she did have the legal right to search my bag. And so I allowed her to search my bag. And the first thing she found was the knife that I actually stole from the school. But luckily, she didn't notice it was from the school. And when she asked about it, I just told her I used it for my job, which was not a lie whatsoever. Because I did use it for my job to cut off the valve stems, because it worked quite well for that. And so she said, all right, that's fine. I'm going to keep it for the day. You can come get it at the end of the day. And I did. But then the next thing she found was my fucking hash. My homemade hash. It was about a gram, maybe a gram and a half of homemade hash. And it was good shit. Like, people bought that shit. And I don't know, I was pretty upset when she found it, but I was high at the time. That's the problem. I was high when she found it. So she asked what it was, and the only thing I could think of was to say that that was what I cleaned out of my grinder earlier. Like, that's what I told my principal. I told her that was what I cleaned out of my grinder earlier, and for some reason I put it in my backpack. That was the only thing I could think of. And she accepted it though. Because, I mean, I guess she knew it was better not to try and get me in shit. I don't really know. But, yeah, all she said was, alright, that's fine. I'm just going to throw it out for you. And then, of course, my dumb high ass asked her, like, are you sure you want to throw it out? Like, I can just keep it and throw it out myself, because obviously I didn't want to fucking throw out my homemade hash. Like, that shit took me a while to make, and it was good shit. But, obviously she said no, and she just said she'd keep it and throw it out. I'm sure she ended up smoking it or something. But, yeah, I did end up getting the stolen knife back. The knife I stole from the school. They gave it back to me. But they did end up keeping my hash. But, I mean, other than that, I really didn't get in any trouble whatsoever. They didn't suspend me or nothing. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm good at talking my way out of trouble. But I guess that wasn't a real exciting story, but that's all I got today. I got another one tomorrow.